May the 18th of 2021 is called into session. Let's take a minute just to kind of take stock of the day and prepare for the meeting, please. Thank you very much. Will you, opening exercises. Let's see, call to order. Mr. Porter.
Here.
Dr. Kirk.
Here.
Mr. Biggers.
Here.
Dr. Daniels.
Here.
And the chair is here. Will you stand and join Dr. Kirk in the flag salute, please?
I pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Item number 2, the consent agenda. I need a motion,
Madam
please.
Madam Chairman, may I make a quick motion?
Yes, would you, I think you have something to say, don't you?
And I knew you were going to forget. I'd just like to congratulate Carl Albert High School. There's been only 2 other schools in the history of state championships to ever win. And I'm not hitting on small sports, but to win the 3 as they used to call them, 3 major sports in school. They did a fantastic job this year, and I just wanted to congratulate them.
Okay, very good, very good.
Yep.
All righty, excellent. Item number 2, consent agenda.
It's item A through C. Madam Chairman, I make a motion, we accept the consent agenda as written.
Second?
Okay, Mr. Biggers,
Aye.
Dr. Daniel,
Aye.
Dr. Kirk,
Aye.
Mr. Porter,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Vote to approve or not approve the following gifts and/or donations. Dr. Cobb.
Yeah, we have several donations from the Middale Public Schools Foundation. The first is to Christy Cooper and Del City High School to help fund basically State Student Council, which Del City High School is hosting this coming fall. This will be the second time in 7 years that Del City has hosted State Stuco. The second one is just a donation of $1,000 for each site that the foundation has made just for whatever needs those principals or site leaders happen to have. And the third one is to a donation to Michelle Strain, our counseling coordinator, for supplies for our counselor calming rooms.
Okay, motion, please.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, any questions? Dr. Daniel,
Aye.
Dr. Kirk,
Aye.
Mr. Biggers,
Aye.
Mr. Porter,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Item number 4, discuss, consider, and vote to approve or not approve the following items relative to the $14,620,000 general obligation combined purpose bonds, Series 2021. Do we need to, can we go ahead and do 4A on that one too?
Thank you so much.
No, we need to discuss
A and
that
B
first, and then
separately,
we'll
yes,
do the
ma'am.
4A. Okay, very good, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. I've got some great news. We are issuing our bonds at a time when the rates are very, very low, and that will be seen here on these our bids. So we'll start with the $14,620,000 combined purpose bonds. We got 5 bids. That's this first sheet here. JP Morgan Securities was the low bid at a rate of 0.633714. I'm not entirely positive, but I'm pretty sure it's probably the lowest rate you've ever gotten on your bonds. So, we look at that just, in terms of the interest cost to your taxpayers, and so this is great news. We are keeping the cost as low as we possibly can. We got 5 bids, which is always an indication of good demand. And the second place bid was very close to the low bid, which again is a very tight competitive sale. So from our side, that feels like we found the market as low as we could get, and we just got a really good rate. Your credit rating, it was affirmed, which is always a good thing. Your team does a great job on those calls with Moody's. It's not always easy. In a pandemic year, it's really not always easy. There are a lot of really good questions about funding, enrollment, everything that you would think that they would ask, they do ask. And your team does a wonderful job of explaining everything that's happening here, and that helps you get these kinds of bids. So I just think that that's always important to note. So the first action item that we have is to award the bonds for this sale, and certainly our thought would be to award the bonds to the low bid, JP Morgan Securities, at a rate of 0.633714. But I can answer any questions if there are any on the bond sale or the bids or anything.
Okay, motion, please.
Make a motion that we approve the J.P. Morgan bid.
A second?
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Robertson? All right, you do a very nice job for us, and we appreciate this.
Well, I appreciate it. You guys are
Tremendously.
great to work with. And
Okay,
Thank
we'll call the vote. Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. 4B, adopt the resolution providing for the issuance of the district's $14,620,000 general obligation combined purpose bonds, Series 2021, and matters related thereto.
so as a board, this is your final action item to formally authorize the issuance of the bonds. You do this every time on your bond issues, and so this action item is virtually identical as far as form and substance to what you do each time. So up until now, some of the details of the bond issue were not known. So this, formal action item will finalize all of the remaining outstanding items of the bond issue, provide for the annual levy, and do other certain things to kind of just finalize what was left up until yesterday's sale. So that's the action item. I can answer any questions in the resolution if there are any. This is a kind of a standard form that we have to do through the AG's office, as you've done on all of your bond issues.
Make a motion that we approve item 4B
Second.
written.
Was that a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Item number 5, we're going to do exactly the same thing on the $1.5 million
Yes, ma'am. Thank
general
you.
obligation bonds.
Yes, ma'am.
5A, let's go ahead and do 5A, please.
Okay, so you also have the bids
Yes.
for these bonds. So these bonds, the interest to the bondholders is taxable, and so when the interest is taxable, they generally ask for a higher yield, because after they pay their taxes, right, their yield comes down. So from the first sale to this sale, the rates are generally a little bit higher. I will tell you that rates are about the same this year as compared to last year for this kind of a bond sale, and our rate on the taxable series was lower than last year. So I'm seeing that where the bonds are getting lower rates, even though kind of the indexes are about the same as they were a year ago. I think that's just that there's a higher demand for bonds, and the supply is just not as, it's a very good time to issue your debt. So these bonds, we got the low bid from, so if you look at the first page, the second place bid from Mellon out of New York was the low bid on this sale. So they've been very good supporters of your bonds over the years. Frequent bidders, just missed on the first one, but here they were the low bid at 0.999786. So we're not going to say I will not round up. Let's put it that way. I like seeing the zero. I like the 0.999. So we're not going to say 1%. We're going to say 0.999786%. A great rate on your taxable series. A very competitive sale. All 5, up and down, were just a very narrow spread. So, I mean, just again, a very competitive sale. BNY Mellon Capital Markets, low bid, 0.999786. That would be our thought for the award for this series.
Okay. Move to, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve BNY Mellon Capital Markets
All
bid
right,
on our
which is
bonds.
5A.
Second.
All right. Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Now, item 5B, please, sir.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Exact same action item as the other series, finalizing all of the outstanding items for this series. They are separate series, and so we have these separate legal actions or action items. The bonds will close the same day, so they are running on the same schedule. They're just separate legal series. So you're going to formally authorize the issuance of the taxable series and fix all the other outstanding items of this bond issue, similar to 4B.
Okay. Motion, please.
Move to approve item B,
Second.
5.
Thank you. Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Well
Thank you all
done.
very much.
Good job.
Thank
Great rates.
you.
Congratulations on your
Good
rates.
job.
Thank you very much.
Excellent, excellent.
Thank you for the
When
work.
will the money be in the bank, sir?
What money?
That's right.
We're planning to close on July 7th.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
excellent, thank you. Item number 6, vote to approve or not approve the child nutrition utilization of the state bid approved through the Office of Management Enterprise Systems. Ms. Smith?
Good morning, President Nolan, board members, and Dr. Cobb. This year, we're looking to go in a different path after the pandemic with how we utilize our groceries, paper goods, chemicals, and then also small wares and produce. And
Okay.
it would be through the state bid, which is approved through OMES, and it was awarded to Cisco.
Okay,
So we're seeking approval for that.
Very good.
Do you have any questions for me in regards to the change?
Move to approve.
thank you.
A second.
For having.
And do we have a question?
I just second the motion.
Oh, okay, very good. Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Dr. Biggers? Mr. Biggers?
Thanks.
Dr. Daniels?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. But item number 7, Ms. Smith, vote to approve or not approve personnel for the 2021 summer food program at an estimated cost of $10,144.44 to be paid from Child Nutrition Fund.
Yes, this summer, our summer program is a lot smaller than what you saw for last summer. So we have 6 different schools that'll be running 6 different programs. Some of them are Monday through Thursday. We have 3 programs that will run on Wednesday, and this year, for the first year, we will offer meals to the students at Bridges all the way through the summer until school starts.
So the 6 sites be the same sites that to
It's
pick up for the whole
Country
summer?
Estates and Del City High School will run June 2nd through June 29th, I believe, 30th. I'm gonna have to stop and think. We have 3 sites that are only running on Wednesdays only, and I think they're Cleveland, Bailey. I don't have those, but I can get those back to each one of you from the previous board approval.
Thank you.
And then, like I said, Bridges over at the Learning Center is a new one for us as those students stay in educational learning process throughout the summer. We wanted to make sure that they had breakfast and lunches served to them.
Need a motion, please.
Motion.
Move to approve.
Second?
Thank you. Any other questions? Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Item number 8, Ms. Smith, vote to approve or not approve an increase to adult breakfast and lunch meal prices for 2021-22.
Yes, we're very fortunate. USDA has granted us another exemption or waiver, so our students will eat free for the entire school year of 2022. So we won't have to come back in December and make a decision like we did this year. But that changes the way our funding is affected, because typically we run off of the NSLP program and the reimbursement is significantly less. This year, they're allowing us to receive the reimbursement of the SFSP, which is almost $1.50 more per meal at lunchtime. So you'll see the increase on the adult meals is based off the fact that we have to meet that federal funding for the reimbursable meals for the students. So that's why we have such a huge jump at the lunch from $3.90 to $4.60 because of the reimbursement. And then it was a 20-cent jump for breakfast.
Okay. Motion, please.
Motion to approve item 8, item 8.
A second.
Okay, any other questions?
I do. I have a question. Now, will that impact the à la carte prices at all? for adults?
We'll be looking at a la carte because it's still completely separate. So we'll need to make sure that we are financially viable in the a la carte area. We do have a couple of items right now that we pay more for than we actually sell for.
Okay.
We will try and keep them very reasonable for the students, and if it's something that we're just not selling or it's not reasonable, then we'll replace it with something that is affordable.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, so we need to call the vote. Dr. Daniel
Aye.
and Dr. Kirk.
Aye.
Mr. Biggers.
Aye.
Mr. Porter.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Item number 9, one more, Ms. Smith. Vote to approve or not approve the purchase of kitchen equipment.
Oh, I forgot about the bond equipment. That's a big one. We can't forget about that. So we have a walk-in refrigerator that needs to be replaced. It's approximately, I think Hunk said 12 years old, and half of it is totally gone down. So it is to the point now that if we start piecing it together, the pieces will cost us more than to purchase the entire new walk-in. So we would like to replace that, and then we also have 2 serving lines that have hot wells on them at Dell City Middle School and Midwest City Middle School, and they're no longer in working order, which meets state and health inspection, so we need to keep that food up to temperature.
Okay. Approval, please. Motion
Move to approve.
and a second.
Second?
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Dr. Kirk, Mr.
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Dr. Daniel,
Aye.
Mr. Biggers,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
very much.
All right, Dr. Eric, item number 10, vote to approve or not approve the purchase of science textbooks and consumables. You mean we're not going to wait 15 more years to get new science textbooks?
No, ma'am, we're
Okay.
not at all. President and all the members of the board, Dr. Cobb, this is a very exciting thing to come through. This has been a year of process that Mr. Ryder has been working with our science teachers. So just to walk through the process with you, the State Department of Education provides a list of textbooks that we can access and consider. Our money that we get for that obviously doesn't cover that, which they've just hopefully signing that bill to get that money increased. We use bond funds to pay for that, which allows us a little bit more flexibility. Mr. Ryder has met with a committee of science teachers in elementary, middle, and high school. They have crosswalked standards with all the textbooks, and then once they select the final textbooks, they let the teachers vote. The exciting thing about this is that due to the stimulus funds, we're able to purchase some extra items we didn't have originally budgeted. So the elementary systems, our books come with STEM kits. We're able to buy a significant number of STEM kits, so normally that's a one-time purchase, and then we have to find money after. We'll be able to buy 4 years of STEM kits with this purchase, so we're very excited. Mr. Ryder has done an excellent job of working with teachers, and they seem really excited. It's a hybrid system, so a lot of it is going to be technology-based in terms of it links into our Canvas. We've done demos, we've checked and make sure that everything is working and correct. And then there's some books that come in for obviously some of our special ed students and some of those different things, but really feel like this is a great, exciting time.
All right, motion, please.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any other questions?
One quick question. This has an online component, so is there technical support for that
Yep.
from the very good?
Yes, so we have professional development and technical support provided in that, and Mr. Ryder has already been creating trainings. He's got most of them ready to go, and we're going to start those on our Tuesdays this summer, and then in the fall, there will be times for teachers to come to some required trainings during our district PD so that they can become familiar with it as we go through.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Dr. Daniel,
Aye.
Dr. Kirk,
Aye.
Mr. Porter,
Aye.
Mr. Biggers,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Thank you, sir. Ms. Metcalf, vote to approve or not approve the 2021-22 tentative proposed budget's revised summary. Tell you what, it's the time of year when we just do revised and tentatives all over the place, don't we?
Well, I messed up. Plain and simple, I was so excited, and as you can contest, those spreadsheets are so long. And I picked up this year, because I was looking and seeing where are we gonna be at the end of this year, and thank goodness, before we published, Preston, our new person, said, "Hey, isn't that supposed to say 21-22?" And I just thought, yes, it is. So we got, nothing else changed, but the summary sheet did. And so that's why I'm bringing it back, and then I'll have you sign it. and we'll get that published.
All right, very good.
And I apologize for having to do that.
Move to approve, no, I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Thank you so much.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Mr. Bryan? Vote to approve or not approve Happy Playgrounds LLC to design, procure, and professionally install playground equipment, amenities, and safety surfacing at Country Estates, Schwartz, and Townsend Elementary Schools.
President Nolan, members of the board, Dr. Cobb, this is the first installment of our Bond 36 playgrounds. And Dr. Cobb and Ms. Leslie, we got together and we tried to determine the greatest need. And so that's how we arrived at these first three. We had 2 bids, and this is the lower of the 2 bids. And if you have any questions, I'd be glad to address those. Otherwise, I'd ask for a vote of approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions? Gone are the days when we just put a merry-go-round out on the playground, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. They're
Thank
pretty-
goodness.
They're pretty
Can't do a
exciting.
merry-go-round anymore.
I'm sorry?
Can't do a merry-go-round anymore.
No, that's not going to be something
not
we're going
safe.
to recommend.
Okay, Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Mr. Stearns, vote to approve or not approve Joe Cooper Chevrolet for procurement of a new Chevy 2500 4WD crew cab truck. Well, gosh, you look an awful lot like
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Bryan. Go ahead.
I forgot I was standing in for Mr. Stearns. He had an issue at transportation that he needed to be there, so I'm his second. This truck is a truck to replace a truck that's no longer running, and it is really a hotshot truck for our transportation department. If we have a bus that breaks down, whatever, we send this truck out and we try to get the vehicle repaired there. And for parts with regard to buses, usually they're fairly large, fairly heavy, and this allows us to pick those parts up. As it is right now, we're taking a Suburban and we're going to get those parts. So if you have any questions on that, I'd be glad to address those. If not, I'd ask for a vote of approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any other questions? Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you, sir. Dr. Perez, vote to approve or not approve the reemployment of non-certified staff for fiscal year 2021 to 22.
President Nolan, members of the board, Dr. Cobb, I come today with a bunch of exciting items to bring before you. This is not necessarily one of them. This is just a case of a page got stuck to another page during our last board meeting, and we had one school that didn't formally have their non-certified staff renewed simply because of that little clerical error. So we just have this to fix that error.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Item number B, vote to approve or not approve recommendation for head principal at Steed Elementary. Dr. Perez.
For the position of head principal at Steed Elementary, I would like to recommend Ms. Karen Rickwalt. Ms. Rickwalt has been part of the Middell family for 3 years, serving as assistant principal at Midwest City Elementary. She is completing her 17th year in education. She received her bachelor's in elementary education from Oklahoma State University and her master's in educational leadership from the University of Central Oklahoma.
Motion to approve, please.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, and I expect she is here.
She did sneak away for this momentous occasion, so stand.
Welcome. All right. Item number C, vote to approve or not approve recommendation for assistant principal at Midwest City High School. Dr. Perez.
For the position of assistant principal at Midwest City High School, I would like to recommend Ms. Darcy Buddy. Ms. Buddy has spent her whole career at Mid-Dell, dating back to 2005. She currently serves as the assistant principal at Dell City Middle School. She received her bachelor's in secondary math from Oklahoma State University and her master's in educational leadership from the University of Central Oklahoma.
All right, very good.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Would you do the introduction?
She did not make it. She could not sneak away. So
Okay.
she is working right now, which is, that's a good
As
thing
well
too.
she should be.
That's right.
All right, very good. All right. Dr. Perez, item number D, vote to approve or not approve a memorandum of understanding between Middale Public Schools and the Middale Association of Classroom Teachers.
So in an effort to enhance the recruitment and retention of certified staff serving students within the special education programs, I would like to ask your approval for a memorandum of understanding between Middale Schools and the Middale Association of Classroom Teachers for the 21-22 school year, which will increase the special education stipend that we offer from 7% to 10% for classroom special education teachers, speech language pathologists, school psychologists, school psychometrists, and certified speech pathologist assistants. And it's our hope that this stipend increase will become a permanent fixture in Middale, but this MOU will give us the opportunity to assess its sustainability as well as its effectiveness in attracting and retaining staff in these very critical and very difficult to hire positions.
Move to approve. Second.
Thank you. Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Dr. Perez, item number E, vote to approve or not approve items that were agreed upon in negotiations between the district representative and the bargaining agents for the respective 2021-22 school years master agreements, E1 and E2.
I assume you may want to take these separately for a vote? Okay. So we'll just start with E1 with the Middale Support Employee Association. I'd like to request your approval for the tentative agreement completed on May 7th, 2021 between the Middale Board of Education and the Middale Support Employees Association. This will be the first of two tentative agreements slated for negotiations related to the negotiated contract for the 21-22 school year. This particular tentative agreement today focuses on the following areas of compensation. So it'll include a step increase for support personnel covered under the MDSEA negotiated agreement, additional 30 cents per hour pay increase for support personnel covered under the negotiated agreement, excluding those personnel on the tech center support compensation schedules. For those individuals, would be an additional 10 cent per hour pay increase for support personnel on the tech center support compensation schedules. And then an additional $4 per hour pay increase for support personnel on compensation schedules S, V, Y, and Z. And these are individuals who are our licensed maintenance staff, skilled staff that are very, very difficult to be able to fill those positions due to the competitive nature of the private sector. And so this tentative agreement was approved by a vote of non-certified personnel with 97% of those participating voting yes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. All right, excellent. Item number F, vote to approve or not approve items that
President
were...
Nolan? President Nolan, I need to do part two.
I'm sorry, what am I doing?
I need to do part two.
Part two.
T2,
E2,
What?
part 2 on E.
ACT.
teachers.
We split into two.
E2.
Oh, we did E1, now we got to do
Right.
E2.
I don't want to skip that one. I'll get a lot of emails.
Okay.
I would like to request your approval of the tentative agreement completed on May 11th, 2021 between the Middale Board of Education and the Middale Association of Classroom Teachers. This will also be the first of two tentative agreements slated for negotiations related to the negotiated contract for the 21-22 school year. This particular tentative agreement also focuses on the following areas of compensation. So a step increase for certified personnel under the MDACT negotiated agreement, additional $1,700 annual pay increase to the base salary for certified personnel covered under the MDACT negotiated agreement, excluding personnel on the tech center compensation schedules. For those individuals, there will be an additional $250 annual pay increase for certified personnel in the tech center compensation schedules. We want to add pay steps for speech pathologists and school psychologists or psychometrists for full-time professional work experience that would be verified by Human Resources. We'd like to add a supplemental stipend increment of $4,500 for a co-ed swim head coach position. We do find a need for that here. We also want to add a supplemental stipend increment of $600 for sponsorship for the Gay Straight Alliance Club, which occurs at all of our secondary sites. We've also moved language that was previously approved from a memorandum of understanding into the negotiated agreement, which would include a $1,000 signing bonus for any speech pathologist or psychologist, psychometrist who enters into a full-time contracted position with the district, and a one-time retention bonus for those individuals of $1,000 if they renew that following year. There would also be a $1,000 incentive for any certified teacher who's on current contract with Middale Public Schools who successfully complete a special education-related certification test and accepts a full-time position as a special ed teacher with Middale Public Schools. We've had those in place for a while under an MOU, but it's to the point now where we're going to just want to put that permanently into the negotiated language. So this tentative agreement was approved by a vote of certified personnel with a 98% of those who participated voting yes. And so I'd ask for your approval at this time.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, Mr. Biggers,
Aye.
Dr. Kirk,
Aye.
Mr. Porter,
Aye.
Dr. Daniel,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Okay, now on F, are we going to do the same thing? We're going to vote on F1 and then we'll vote on F3?
Nope, we can take all of them at once, ma'am.
I'm sorry?
We can take all of them at once.
Okay, we can take, vote to approve or not approve items that are recommended for the employee groups not covered by negotiated agreements, F1 and F3, through F3.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So I would just like to request your approval for salary adjustments for employees not represented through negotiated agreements. Any salary adjustments would align with those proposed through the MDACT and MDSEA negotiated agreements, which is our normal operating procedure.
Move to approve.
A second.
Okay, Mr. Biggers?
I have a question.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay, just want to, now, with these increases, how competitive would this make us with other districts across the state,
So are you speaking specifically of certified teachers?
just in general?
So it varies. So with our certified teachers, this pay increase of the $1,700 gets us to a base salary of $40,000, which has been a goal we've been striving for a few years, and things have gotten in the way. So it's nice we've reached that. I will say that metro area is a very competitive area, so we're still a little behind in that area. I'd like to be able to see us boost that up in the future as well, so it makes it easier to recruit. But we're making some progress there. When it comes to support, we have so many pay schedules there, and it's hard a lot of times to align job descriptions between different districts. But I will say that what I have found in my research is that we are at or above the average on salaries for our support personnel. We were just looking at competitive salaries with bus drivers within several people in the metro area and found that we're doing quite well there. But, it's one of those things where we still have a need.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
If I remember correctly, this takes our lowest hourly wage employee starting salary to $12.85 an hour.
I believe that's correct, sir.
So it's not, not as high as we'd like it to be, but we're getting closer.
Absolutely.
Good.
All right, shall we call the vote? Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Item number 15, move to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel? And the chair votes aye. Thank you all very much.